1912, the Joseph Tilton Bowen Country Club started, a summer camp for inner-city Chicago children. The camp was located in Waukegan, Illinois, owned and operated by the Hull House, a Chicago settlement house founded by Jane Addams. The camp provided a country getaway for Chicago's children. When Waukegan urbanized in 1962, the no longer country camp was left for sale, bought by the Waukegan Park District.
They left it very much like a park setting. That was the whole point, was to give the underprivileged children the experience of nature. These kids hadn't seen, many of them reportedly hadn't seen green grass before. They only knew the paved streets.
In honor of her late husband, Joseph Tilton Bowen, Louise DeCoven Bowen, a friend of Jane Addams, wanted to do something. Mrs. Bowen volunteered to create a camp in his memory. Searching for a suitable campsite, she visited Hull House. While visiting Hull House, she fell in love with the family atmosphere. Wanting to maintain the family feel, she called the camp Country Club. She felt this would encourage the children to feel at home, like it belonged to them, like they had something to be responsible for. The attending children were chosen by the Hull House staff and social workers. Although there was a fee to go to the country club, no child was ever turned away for lack of money. Starting at the end of June until August, for 2 weeks, 4 groups of campers attended the camp. During an average summer, 550 campers used the campgrounds, so each group consisted of about 140 campers. Campers would mount the train in anticipation to see the green grass, trees, and flowers that was ahead of them. Waving goodbye out the window, the children would wave goodbye to their parents. They would soon see them again on Visitors Sunday. Waiting at the train station in Waukegan was a group of waving counselors. The counselors then helped them get off the train, put them into groups by age, and then prepared the campers to make the 2-mile walk from the train station to the site of Bowen Country Club. 2 weeks every summer for 50 years, citizens of Waukegan watched the scene of happy, singing, waving children on their way to camp, which became a part of a ritual. Approaching the sign that read Joseph Tilton Bowen Country Club, the campers were ecstatic. Camp began promptly at 8 a.m. with wake-up calls, and breakfast shortly after. Activities continued through the morning until the bell was rung for lunch. After lunch, more activities. The dinner bell would ring at 5 o'clock. Most nights were ended with campfires, filled with smiles, laughs, stories, and wonder for what the next day's camp will bring. For 50 years, this camp was the reason for kids' anticipation, hope, and smiles. But with the rise of Waukegan began the fall of Bowen Country Club. The camp was no longer country. Waukegan had become urban.
The whole purpose of the camp originally was to allow the underprivileged kids from Chicago to experience what it was like in the countryside. And by the time 1960s was around, Waukegan wasn't country anymore. It was an urban city.
The camp was closed and sold to the Waukegan Park District. Today the land is used for a park, art center, and a museum. Sure, Bowen Park is a great family place, but it isn't what it used to be. It's not all it should be.